Hello there, it's Obi-Wan Kenobi, and page-turners they were not, but this is the podcast you're looking for.
Everyone, my name is Brendan Marr, that noise you're hearing is my ventilator. Welcome to Page Turners They Were Not, my Star Wars podcast. There hasn't been a lot of Star Wars news lately, but there is one item that I'm excited to talk about. So, next year, we get the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, and the year after, in 2027, we get Star Wars Starfighter. And the director, Shawn Levy, has revealed the composer for the film. Academy Award nominated Thomas Newman. Now, Thomas Newman has done a lot of movies, many of which you would be familiar with. Some of his most famous being The Shawshank Redemption, Finding Nemo, Wall-E, American Beauty, The Green Mile, Bridge of Spies, 1917, Skyfall, Road to Perdition, and also as far as television, he composed the 2003 miniseries of Angels in America. Thomas Newman is a legend, but in kind of a quiet way. You know, his name does not often get mentioned alongside John Williams, Hans Zimmer, you know, various other Jerry Goldsmith, various other composers. Obviously, right now, the most famous movie composers are John Williams and Hans Zimmer. But Thomas Newman has really given us some incredible work, particularly Shawshank Redemption, Finding Nemo, and Wall-E. Though yesterday I was listening to a piece of his score from 1917, which is excellent. So that's the announcement. Thomas Newman is part of the Newman family, who have all been involved in movie scoring. He's the youngest son of Alfred Newman. Alfred Newman is a legend who won the Oscar for Best Original Score 9 times. Some incredible work such as How the West Was Won, All About Eve, and many, many, many others. So Thomas Newman is part of that family. His cousin, by the way, is Randy Newman. This is an exciting development. Obviously, when you think of Star Wars, you think John Williams. The irony actually being that Thomas Newman took over for John Williams on Bridge of Spies. Sorry, ran out the other. And we're the spies. I think John Williams had a medical issue, and so he wasn't able to do We're the Spies. And certainly, I think Newman gave a really good score. The thing about his score that makes it interesting is his music is often understated. Um, because it's not going for the big, pompous, bombastic John Williams style. His scores go for a more emotional, uh, downplayed, certain degree of magic and wonder. So it's a very different kind of music than John Williams. And it will be interesting to see what he comes up with in this movie and how it's going to feel. I find that Thomas Newman scores are about feeling more than the big bombastic sounds. Uh, He's not won an Oscar, he's lost 8 times. But I think just to be nominated was cool. And he, Wally might be his most recognized score if you heard it. But I was just rewatching The Shawshank Redemption last week, and the music in that movie is extraordinary because it's so magical in a way. It's so otherworldly and inspiring. It will be interesting though, because he hasn't really done a lot of action movies. And I imagine that Starfighter will be an action movie. Now, he's done Skyfall, which is an action film. Um, but a lot of his movies are not what you would call action films. So it would be very interesting to see what happens when he composes a score for a movie that relies on action and adventure. I think he's up to the challenge. I was very excited to hear this news, and I can't wait to see what he does with this material. So those are my thoughts on Thomas Newman scoring Star Wars Starfighter. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Only What You Take With You, presented by Page Turner's They Were Not Nice Star Wars podcast. May the Force be with you.